More arrests are likely coming over the SSL scandal, which is turning out to be much bigger than we originally thought. I'm Kalilah Reynolds, financial journalist and educator based in Jamaica. The Financial Investigations Division gave us a big update on the SSL fraud investigation on Friday. The gist of it is that things are way worse than we originally thought. According to the FID, the number of affected accounts is now up to 70. That's way more than the 40 initially reported. And investigators have also uncovered multiple fraud schemes at the company for a grand total of 10 million US dollars defrauded over a decade. Since the investigation started in January, the FID has been working with the FBI and a forensic accounting and investigation firm, Kroll, from the UK. They've been pulling on every loose thread, trying to unravel exactly what happened and how. According to the statement, investigators found an entrenched culture of gross mismanagement dating back well over a decade. Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke pointed out that had SSL been dissolved like some of the directors wanted, the level of fraud and the multiple schemes wouldn't have been discovered. So far, Usain Bolt's former wealth advisor Gina Ann Panton has been the only person arrested, but the FID said that before her next court date in December, more people will be arrested. Another big update came from Finance Minister Dr. Nigel Clarke. He announced that the government will be covering some operational expenses at SSL temporarily to the tune of roughly $15 million a month. And when he says the government will be paying, he really means us taxpayers, because the government gets most of its money from taxes, from us. Now, of course, this has gotten a lot of backlash, because why should we pay SSL employees' salaries? Let me know in the comments how you feel about that. Now, according to Clarke, SSL currently has 22 employees. Their total monthly wage bill is $9.5 million, plus there's another $5 million in other operating expenses, plus the one-off legal fees. Yikes. But the finance minister said the government is pretty much between a rock and a hard place. See, SSL employees pulled a sick out recently. They all refused to go to work because they were not paid for August. But investigators need the employees to be at work so that they can continue the investigation. So that's why the government is stepping in to cover the expenses. In a Twitter Spaces town hall on Friday, Dr. Clarke said that if they didn't step in, the government risked compromising the investigation.
On Thursday, employees of SSL stayed home from work in protest against the delay in payment of salaries for August. And I, in my capacity as Minister of Finance, have to respond to situations such as that, and the guiding principles behind that response will be and is the policy position that I have outlined. And the policy position is to pursue this investigation and to follow the evidence wherever it leads, to leave no stone unturned, and to get international help. And I have said in the past that the government will provide whatever resources are required by investigators and others to see this investigation through. Now, the investigation is at a stage where the investigators have made it very clear to me in no uncertain terms that having the employees in place is critical to the progress of the investigation. I have faith and confidence in our investigators, and consistent with the policy direction and policy commitment, with that advice and request of our investigators, I announced that the government will provide the support. And by the government here, I mean non-specific, whether it's the central government or it's the FSC itself, will provide the resources on a temporary basis to support the payment of the salaries to employees and other operating costs of SSL to facilitate the fulfillment of the policy objective.
And to the point he made about whether it's the central government or the Financial Services Commission who will pay, the minister said more than likely it'll be the FSC. He said the commission has enough cash in reserves to cover SSL's monthly expenses, but they're making checks just to make sure. Dr. Clarke also pointed out that the coverage is conditional. SSL still has some assets and receivables that can be used to cover the salaries, etc., but those might take some time to sell or recover. In the meantime, SSL clients are still in limbo. Their funds haven't been released yet because the investigation is still ongoing. Now, the government promised to leave no stone unturned and to follow the money wherever it led. And as I said earlier, investigators have been going over everything with a fine-tooth comb. So it's just a matter of how long the investigation will take and how long the government will have to foot the bill to pay SSL staff. And that's the bottom line. Subscribe to my newsletter for money news like this straight to your inbox. Click the link up here or in the description below. Let's get this money.
Let's get this money.